Welcome back to the show. The Federal Treasurer has launched a blistering attack over Victoria's handling of the pandemic while calling for hope and clarity from the Premier. Josh Frydenberg joins us now from Canberra. Treasurer, good morning to you.
Nice to be with you.
You've described the state's handling of this as a slow car crash, but no offence, Josh, you seem a little powerless to stop it.
Well, they're not my words, actually. They are the words of the Australian Medical Association, who have described the events in Victoria as like a slow car crash in motion. And it's been terrible to see the bungles around hotel quarantine. We won't hear till November what the outcomes of that review is, even though hundreds of people have lost their lives and hundreds of thousands are expected to lose their jobs or see their hours reduced to zero. And there's data out today, Treasury analysis and bank data, showing that spending in Victoria is down by 30% compared to being down just 3% in the rest of the country. In hospitality, spending is down 60%. In accommodation, it's down to 80%. And we are told that up to 400,000 people will either lose their jobs or see their hours reduced in Victoria. And if these numbers are not enough to bring forward a definitive plan from Daniel Andrews as to how he will take his state out of stage 4 restrictions, I don't know what will.
No matter how much you bluster, though, and complain about all of this, they won't change. They get the popularity and you get the bill.
Well, I think Victorians are fed up. I think we're hearing from Victorians about the impact that these stage 4 restrictions having on their mental health and their well-being. Business is very frustrated because they haven't been told when can they open up, when can people get back to work. It's only 2 weeks to go to the scheduled end of the stage 4 restrictions, and you saw the blowback on Daniel Andrews for his call to extend the emergency powers by 12 months. I think that was an insight into how Victorians are feeling.
How are you with any certainty able to plan on a national level when you don't know when the states will come out of these lockdowns? How do you do that?
Well, we're seeing outside of Victoria jobs starting to come back. In the last 2 months, 340,000 jobs have been created. 58% of those have gone to women, 44% have gone to young people. We know in New South Wales we've seen strong jobs growth as well. So outside of Victoria, the message is of the 1.3 million people who either lost their job or saw their hours reduced to zero since the start of the crisis, some 700,000 are now back at work. But Victoria, Karl, is a very different situation altogether. These stage 4 restrictions are having a huge impact, and Victorians need to hear more about the road out rather than hearing more about a longer road in.
The issue, though, is, Josh, apart from verballing them, you can't do anything else. They can do what they want.
Well, they need to provide a definitive plan. If you remember back to early on in this crisis, we worked through National Cabinet for a 3-stage plan to get restrictions eased. That detailed the nature of those activities, that detailed the size of the gatherings. It's that sort of detail which is required now from the Victorian government. It's not too early for a definitive plan. It should have been underway weeks ago, and now there's only 2 weeks to the end of the scheduled stage 4 restrictions, and it's time the Victorian government came up with a plan.
OK, are you abandoning the increase in the superannuation guarantee?
We have no plans to increase taxes. We've always been the party of lower taxes. What we are doing is responding to the needs in aged care with an additional $1 billion a year in spending. There will be more aged care spending in this year's budget, and then, of course, in response to the Aged Care Royal Commission in next year's budget. OK,
the business sector wants you to bring forward the personal and company tax cuts. Will you do that?
We're considering our options. There was a 3-stage plan that we took to the Australian people the last election. We legislated those tax cuts. We have now legislated more than $300 billion worth of tax cuts in the last 2 budgets. What we are seeing now is the abolition of a whole tax bracket, and 94% of taxpayers, Karl, will pay a marginal rate of no more than 30 cents in the dollar. Today it's about 63%. So it's a massive change in our tax system. We're creating a stronger tax system, a fairer tax system, and one which sees people keep more of what they earn.
What will be the impact on businesses in Victoria and in states where the borders aren't open, do you think?
It hurts them. it costs jobs, and obviously it impedes the national recovery. Business is very frustrated. When Daniel Andrews announced the stage 4 restrictions, they were scrambling, to put in place rules and regulations around particular supply chains. Business came to us, tearing their hair out at this policy on the run. What we now need from Victoria is a plan out of these stage 4 restrictions, and they need to work with business certainly much more than they've been doing.
What are you going to do if they don't do that and don't give that certainty?
Well, I'll continue to call for it, and Victorians are hearing that call loud and clear.
Okay, that's it.
We'll continue to assist the Victorian government, whether it's the 1,700 Defence Force personnel that we've deployed there, whether it's our other Commonwealth officials. We'll continue to support Victorian workers with the JobKeeper program. I want you to bear in mind, Karl, that more people from Victoria will be on JobKeeper in the coming months than the rest of the country combined.
But it's a one-way relationship. It's a one-way street.
Well, bring the Premier on this program, ask him the tough questions and seek those answers.
Okay, if he says yes, we'll have him. Good on you, Josh. Have
Thank
a great
you.
week, mate.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Alex has your top stories now. Alex, good morning.